Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to JoyNews Today. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle. We're on DTT because we're free to on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, Supreme Court unanimously orders Parliament to expunge James Jachikwesin's name from its records as a member of Parliament, as it rules that he failed to renounce his Canadian citizenship when he filed his nomination forms. Also this afternoon, PRC justifies recent increase in electricity and natural gas tariffs, explaining the increase has become necessary in order to maintain the real value of cost of supply of utility services.
The weighted average cost of gas, which we call the WACC, has also shot up from $6.09 per MMBTU to $6.52 per MMBTU. These two factors alone have necessitated an increase.
Plus, the IMF board set to consider Ghana's program today with the hope of securing the first tranche of disbursement, but experts warn of conditionalities that may not inure to the benefit of Ghanaians.
It's time to roll our sleeves and get to work. It is not time to pop champagne. Okay? It is time to work.
My name is Aisha Ibrahim. We are also live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at JoyNews on TV. My personal handle is @Danana Aisha. Please stay for details. The Supreme Court has ordered Parliament to expunge James Jachikwesin's name from its records as a member of Parliament. Presiding Judge Justice Jones Doche today ruled that the Electoral Commission acted unconstitutionally in allowing him to contest the 2020 parliamentary elections without proof of him renouncing his Canadian citizenship. This is in the case filed by residents of the constituency, Michael Ankuma Nimfa, who had assisted Mr. Kwesin, who insisted Mr. Kwesin was not qualified to be a member of Parliament. Court correspondent Joseph Akable has the details.
Supreme Court, a 7-member panel has by unanimous decision ordered that Parliament should expunge the name James Jachikwesin from its records as a member of Parliament. The court presided over by Justice Jones Doche, with other panel members being Nene Amegacha, Mariam Owusu, Getru Tokonu, Professor Enrita Mensah Bonsu, Imano Yoni Kulendi, and Barbara Aka Yensu. The court has ruled that he was not qualified at the time of filing his nomination forms to contest the Asin North parliamentary elections in 2020, and that the EC allowing him to contest when he had not showed evidence of renunciation of his citizenship of Canada is unconstitutional. His election was unconstitutional, null and void, and of no effect, and that the swearing-in that was undertaken was also equally unconstitutional. And so it is as a result of arriving at that conclusion that is how come the Supreme Court ruled that his name should be expunged from its records. And for those who may be very familiar with this particular matter, it started raging from 2020 when the Supreme Court, the High Court for that matter, was presented with a petition before the election, just right after the election. You know, he won the Asin North parliamentary primaries. The matter was taken to court that at the time he filed his nomination form, he had not renounced his Canadian citizenship. And so that was the issue in dispute. The High Court in July 2021 upheld that argument. You recall that sometime in April 2022 again, the Supreme Court, by a 5-2 decision, granted an injunction that meant that for the time being, while this particular matter remained pending, James Jachikwesin was restrained from holding himself as a member of Parliament. And so the final judgment is what the court has delivered a short while ago. And like I did indicate, the summary of that judgment is that Parliament has been ordered to expunge James Jachikwesin from its records because he was not qualified at the time he contested the parliamentary post. So
listen to lawyer for the petitioner Frank Davis, who spoke in court after the ruling.
So my client is not looking forward to anything. The EC will have to comply. Insofar as that seat now remains vacant, the EC has to conduct elections in that constituency. So it is not for my client to be looking forward to. It is for the EC to comply with the orders of the Supreme Court. And the constitutional injunction is that if a seat is vacant, you organize fresh elections.
This essentially was decided when you went to the High Court. Will you have to come in again for Parliament to do what is needful?
I don't understand how you mean by it was decided.
I mean, when you went to High Court, by the fact that the High Court ruled that his election was null and void, it was implied that the Electoral Commission was expected to conduct a by-election, but we've not seen same until you come to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but let me correct you. The fact that the High Court held that he was not qualified did not necessarily mean that the Supreme Court was going to adopt the same position. You should also bear in mind that the decision of the High Court, the judgment of the High Court, is being contested in the Court of Appeal. Indeed, they filed an appeal. It was in the course of the appeal processes that we thought it wise to invoke the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to have this matter finally determined. But the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land, and it is the court which determines all constitutional matters. We wanted a strict and proper interpretation, and true as that, of Article 94(2)(a), and that is what has been done this morning.
So there's this school of thought that even if there's going to be a by-election, as it stands now, Mr. Kwesi will still be qualified to stand the election. How about that?
I don't think I want to answer to that. You can go and ask Mr. Kwesi's lawyer. I'm not his lawyer. As to whether he wants to contest or not, is the business of himself and the NDC, the party to which he belongs.
Not contest qualified.
I am not in a position to answer that. He can advise himself, as he did the first time.
It's been a long road for your plaintiff. For the brief moment that this decision was made, has he been able to tell you his feelings about Edem?
He's standing. He's not. Don't put him to that. He's here. It's obvious. It's obvious that he should be a happy man, because the matter started from the High Court, went to the Court of Appeal, and we are now in the Supreme Court. As a human being, you should be excited. So he is excited.
We can now speak with Roxanne Dafiamekwa, who is a lawyer and member of parliament for the South Dai constituency, for more on this. I'm grateful for your time, sir. First, let's pick your reaction to what has happened in court today. The Apex Court says Judge Kwesi's name should be struck out of parliament's records as MP. Your reactions?
First of all, we are disappointed as a group, and what's also important is that we don't have reasons for this decision. The court says that reasons will be made available later on. So we'll abide the issuance of the full judgment for us to apprise ourselves of the basis for this directive. In the meantime, as a political party, he already remains an injuncted member. So he's not doing anything active in terms of parliamentary work. I also don't know whether a speaker will have to be formally served with the directive before some steps could be taken in respect of getting the name expunged and then advising the electoral committee regarding the declaration of vacancy, for which a by-election will be organized. But whatever it takes, we will advise ourselves properly within the next 24 hours going forward.
But this certainly, I mean, whichever way you look at it, will affect your numbers in Parliament. How will this also affect the minority in terms of decision-making in the House?
No, technically, he has been prevented from participating in respect of decisions in the House since when this matter went to court. So he already running a deficit in terms of his absence. That is why all the decisions that are being mandated from the House, instead of 137, 137, you always will hear 136 on our side, because he has been exempted from participating in terms of plenary matters and debates and all. So this is just This is just an official decision because technically he had already been prevented from participating in the decision of the House.
And certainly that means that there's going to be elections to get a new member of parliament. Is the party in any way preparing for this?
Yes, it's always been our fallback plan that if the court decision doesn't go in our favor, then we'll have to prepare him for him to participate in the by-election. So we have always looked at the perspective and prepared ourselves. So we are ready.
Grateful for your time. Roxanne Dafia-Mekpo is an MP for South Dai. He's a minority member of parliament and he is a lawyer. He says the party is ready anytime if there's going to be by-elections. So on the NDC, a former deputy national youth organizer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, Edem Agbana, has been declared the legitimate winner of Saturday's parliamentary primary held in the Ketu North constituency of the Volta region. The national leadership of the NDC announced through its General Secretary Fifi Avikwiti on Tuesday after a committee probed the dispute. This decision also comes in the wake of various concerns expressed by some party stalwarts of the executive's interference in the parliamentary and presidential primaries during the weekend. So was the party right or wrong in declaring Agbana winner in an election supervised by the Electoral Commission? Well, political science analyst Dr. Asar Santi says the NDC did no wrong with the declaration, but warns the EC going forward to ensure the stamping of all ballot papers to avoid such confusions in future elections.
You know, when they counted, Edem had won by 1, but that one is also without stamp at the back, but it has serial numbers and all that. It tells us that this problem, if we don't deal with it, it can blow in on our faces 2024. Because, I'm sorry, you are getting somebody who, through no fault of his, he has won, and yet somebody didn't stamp the ballot. Why would somebody pay for the sense of a professional who is supposed to know his work and do it well, right? Can it be a case that these people can employ this type of tactics to deprive people of the opportunity to serve their society when they have genuinely been given the mandate by their people? It brings to the fore a whole lot of questions that we need to answer if we are to deal with this. But I think the way forward is that we should make sure that the ballots before the votes are cast for elections, they check all the backs whether they have been stamped properly. And then once you do that, somebody goes through and all that, then all the actors satisfy themselves that the ballots have been stamped. Then you go into, giving out for people to express their choice on them. Once we do that, it can minimize some of these problems. And then when the party, in a matter of this, when the NDC had to come in, people are condemning the NDC. I don't condemn them because this election, there is no law saying that the EC should manage for them. They, on their own volition, contacted the EC to do it for them. So when there is a problem, they can come back to them to deal with it. Imagine they themselves had handled the situation and this thing arose. What would have been the situation? So they've dealt with it. But going forward, we need to make sure that we make people responsible for the work that they do as, professionals handling these things, so that at the national level, you are not going to give to any party. You only head for court, and some of these things have their own repercussions.
Away from the NDC, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, has justified its recent increase in tariffs for electricity and natural gas. The Commission, in a statement released this morning, explained the increase has become necessary in order to maintain the real value of the cost of supply of utility services. Extracts of that statement released by the Commission, and it's coming on your screens shortly. I'll be sharing that with you, and it reads: the PURC has concluded its quarterly tariff reviews for the second quarter of 2023 as part of its regulatory mandate. The review has resulted in the Commission approving tariff increases for natural gas and electricity for the second quarter of 2023. The quarter tariff review mechanism seeks to track and incorporate changes in key factors used in determining natural gas and electricity tariff. The factors are Ghana to US dollar exchange rate, inflation, electricity generation mix, and weighted average cost of natural gas. Now, he says the review has become necessary to maintain the real value of cost of supply of the utility services and ensure that utility companies do not under or over recover costs. While under recovery has negative implications for the ability of the companies to supply service to consumers and has a potential of causing outages of electricity, over recovery unnecessarily overburdens consumers. And it says the first quarter tariff decision resulted in a 25% under recovery. This has been to be recovered in order to ensure that the country does not add to the already mounting debt in the energy sector. It says with respect to electricity generation mix, the hydrothermal mix used for the second quarter is 29.01% for hydro and 70.99% for thermal, as against 26.11% for hydro and 73.89% for thermal. And it goes on to say that even though it is mindful of the economic circumstances, it knows that the potential for outages is high, and this could have strong adverse impact on citizens and businesses. Well, Head of Research and Corporate Affairs, Dr. Eric Obute, who says though the PRC is mindful of the hardship, the Commission's quest to avoid incessant power outages comes with a heavy cost which must be borne by consumers.
The PURC, as noted by Mr. Ketu, is mandated by law to undertake a quarterly review of the adjustments in the tariff. Now, these quarterly reviews that we do are based on four key factors which we always talk about. One being the fuel price, the other one being the exchange rate variation, and another one being inflation, and the one that we talk about, the generation mix between thermal and the hydro. Now, if we take the exchange rate, for instance, the exchange rate variation between the time we built the tariff last quarter and this quarter, the percentage increase is 20.58%. Last time around, we used an exchange rate of 10.54 cedis to the dollar. This time around, the projected exchange rate is 12.71 cedis to the dollar. The weighted average cost of gas, which we call the WACOG, has also shot up from $6.09 per MMBTU to $6.52 per MMBTU. These two factors alone have necessitated an increase, however small it may be. Now, the previous time, we did not take full account of the exchange rate variation. We applied only 75% of the exchange rate variation. So we had a 25% under recovery of the exchange rate. So that 25%, we have to recoup or we have to claw back from this particular tariff. It's a gradual process. And the 18.36% that we came up with, it's not the full tariff that we came up with. Knowing pretty well that the economic situations are not too good for everyone.
Doc, sorry to interject, but what informed that exchange rate projection the last time? Why was it at 70? Why was it at 75?
Why was it at 75?
Yes.
No, we did not apply the full exchange rate at the time.
Right.
We did only 75% of the exchanges. That's what we saw.
And I'm asking, what informed that decision?
Just the same economic conditions I'm talking about now.
So why can't you do that now as well?
We have done that. We have done same now. That's what I'm saying. Even with the 18.3, that's just 60% recovery of the tariff. If we had wanted to apply the full 100% recovery of the tariff would have gone up more than 18.3%. So we are mindful of that. That's how come we make sure that we do not apply the full cost of the tariff.
The Consumer Protection Agency, however, says this is insensitive.
I find it very, very difficult to accept reasons given by the PRC. Okay, granted, all the reasons are justified. The only thing PRC has refused for consumers of electricity is uninterrupted 24 hours of utility or electricity supply in the country. It is part of their mandate. And I'm very, very disappointed. Anytime, and this is what I keep saying, the only time you hear of the PRC is when they come to tell us about upward increase in electricity or water. The question I keep asking them that, what guarantee are they giving to consumers or customers that they will not suffer? As you and I know, whether they can call it doom shock, they can call it doom, they can call it so, is irrelevant. The question is, electricity, if you are going to pay more, should not be interrupted by any means unless it's the act of God, which pertains in the most advanced countries that we all know.
Ghana expects the International Monetary Fund, IMF, to approve a first loan tranche of $600 million today, paving way for disbursement within the week. Ghana is seeking $3 billion from the fund to resolve current economic challenges. IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva said Ghana's official creditors had provided the necessary financing assurances for the IMF Executive Board to look at signing off on the loan. Even though this comes as a relief to government, stakeholders are expressing concern about the conditionalities that is likely to worsen the current economic hardship. We'll hear experts' views on this shortly. But first, listen to the Executive Director of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce, Mark Bedua-Boaje, who wants government to take measures to protect businesses from collapsing under the IMF program.
How can somebody sit down and say businesses are not paying taxes? They have to look at how to, as you have said, expand the tax net and also ensure that people are compliant and not always introducing new taxes. So if they are bringing taxes, they should look at the effect of that taxes on businesses. You are likely to, you have gotten the IMF funding, but what will be the impact of these taxes on businesses, growth of the economy and sustainability? We are likely to kill business if we introduce more new taxes. Let's look at how we can ensure compliance and also ensure that at least everyone who is supposed to pay tax is paying at least a minimum amount of it. And not to say that businesses are not paying taxes, so they are going to bring more taxes on businesses. That will not be fair. And in the end, it's going to be disastrous for all of us. So I'm so much worried. I'm just waiting to see what the other conditionalities are when this approval is given, and then we have the document, all of us to review.
Well, economist and professor of finance at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Godfred Bokpin, says Ghanaians must brace themselves for the fallout of the IMF bailout.
Macroeconomic stability is not an end in itself. It's only a means to an end. So what then is important is that how do we complement gains from the IMF, short-term usually, by the necessary governance, productivity enhancing reforms that Ghana needs to do. So if you ask me, it's time to roll our sleeves and get to work. It is not time to pop champagne. Okay? It is time to work. Because look, Evans, what is so extraordinary? We have been to the IMF 16 times. This is our 17th IMF-supported program. And even I am a little surprised today that even from government circles, they are all expecting the IMF program. When towards the end of 2021, we were making the call, the government needed to go to the IMF and save this economy from all the embarrassment. We were practically insulted.
Political risk analyst Dr. Theo Champon is meanwhile advising government to focus on undertaking the necessary and painful reforms that will bring the economy back to life.
Actual debt that will either be forgiven or reprofiled or extended, all those conversations are actually yet to be had. And meeting progress on those will determine the subsequent tranche releases. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the commitment to the program reform area. So the austerity and the adjustment that would have to be made and the necessary sort of trade-off. Prof talked about the tax reforms as one area. There's the whole issue about expenditure reforms, the reform of the state-owned enterprises, reforming the energy sector, and then even the fallout of that in terms of, citizens, right? So if you're changing tax policy, some people will feel it more than others. Some businesses may feel it more than others. And all of these things would need to be taken into account. Then the third area that, again, a lot of the hard work is going to be done on is really around the financial and then the monetary sector reforms that would have to actually undertake going forward.
Away from the IMF, the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council is lashing out at transport operators, describing as misplaced agitations over a proposed 10% fare reduction. The GPRTU and GRTCC, in a statement, said a reduction of public transport fares by 10% will accommodate for the continuous fall in the prices of petroleum products observed over the period. This has been welcomed by some commuters who spoke to JoyNews here in Accra. Some drivers are, however, unhappy about the reduction.
The crisis is there. We are still in a crisis. That's what I think.
Well, if everything was engineered by the politicians, then it is a step in the right direction. But the sustainability is what matters. If they will be able to, hold on to it and then take pragmatic measures in order to, sustain it.
While many of the commuters here are so happy that transport fares are going down, many of the transport operators themselves are not happy with the proposed reduction of 10%.
That 10%, they have to do more than that. That 10%, we don't see anything of that 10%. That 10% didn't do anything. Because now the economy is there, it's too hard.
It's too small, at least 40% or 30%.
We are using engine oil, brake food, spare parts, ties, and other things. So if they say we should reduce it by 10%, they must make sure that those things which I mentioned too should go down by 10%.
We are going to lose totally. It came for first time that we should reduce fare. We reduce it to a certain level. We didn't hear anything about foodstuffs and many other things. Today you are telling us that there is another reduction, so reduce lot of fare.
While commuters and transport operators have divided opinion on the decrease of transport fares in the country, business owners here at Abosokai say they feel no positive impact at all on the exchange rate and other indices in the business they do.
No, I've not seen any positive about it. This one we buy it at 250, but now it's 500 to 550.
So I'm not feeling any impact because the prices of my products is still going up day by day. So I don't think the dollar has come down. It's still rising.
Reporting from Abosokai here in Accra, my name is Carlos Kaloni for Joy.
We can now go to Kumasi, where my colleague Nana Boachi Adam has also been interacting with some commuters.
Depend for that fair about the share price and the beer, the brain, some kind of almost and I'm quite over. Jenny, here, woman from the brand, and to me,
okay, now first, say 10%. It's 10% in the more to say.
And the minister who the pen for the Say bansa na yotumi hu de pa bitimi ade atoso.
Na say first na offer from tech ekwa hefa.
Say me lodu free tech to ayeduase. Ko de diako. But ko ayeduase na 3 series. De diako 3 series 30 pesos. This benefit so time be omo print na de abre. So passenger ntimi ni akini o card. Jeno na de adwuma.
It is say na pese hu say my ready say mo betete so.
E ban kwa de any problem e betete so.
But e ba ya che tete say ya tete petrol so ache pan.
Ba say na ka say benefit na the price the break. You timi fa ope. Won say too much, you timi fa pen ko ji say. Benefit the price the break say enyi say. Ni say tete so am say the price the break say enyi say. What the mention say? Aha, you timi fa penye dey.
Lord fair atiso ka ho na ma wi na ya atiso o nti atiso credits be high.
Enema bensa na yente so e be ha mo.
Make food ne sa no man kitingiti ni oni amonte so.
But you sure say you are willing some betete fairness so ene.
O amotete no man so dey so e betete so.
Back here in Accra, some agitated staff of Ketu distilleries are demanding the immediate removal of their managing director, Maxwell Kofi Juma. According to them, his incompetence in managing the company has led to a dip in the revenues of the company. They're also accusing him of delaying payments of their salaries, SNIT benefits, and other entitlements, which they say is affecting their livelihoods. They therefore believe his removal from office and allowing a new management to take over will improve the performance of the company. More in this report.
The workers, who appeared visibly unhappy about their conditions of service, gathered outside the premises of the company to register their displeasure. Their demand is for the payment of their salaries, SNIT benefits, Provident Fund, and other entitlements. Despite these demands, they also want the managing director of the company, Maxwell Kofi Juma, removed because of incompetence.
The challenges that we have, our SNIT has not been paid, our Provident Fund has not been paid for almost 18 months now. So this is what we are fighting for. We are not fighting the management and we are not fighting the managing director. So this morning that we have police people on our premises here and then doing that, doing this, we don't know what is happening.
The CIA how on say, yeah demonstration. Yeah, maybe nan to ye. Na ya papa obayare no ko kakra na MC ebe so adwuma nim within 2 weeks enyo ma bia toto na akwan mu ama akoyie kakra fine say no yesi ya pay MC ito onyo nkotena say ye betua ne ka na ye ma MC no kra adwuma no no mo nya na because 2 weeks ni ye salary come 2 months ni ye ntua ye ka ye
MD ba no obuaye nsu bebi nu why? Debentina why say because me my wallet no wire ni ma o akam ucha 2 months pay I didn't throw chai because me wire except man akoma me bon akoma me twa me ba e go school wo ne nkro for enjoy ya ka chawo sasem we ya wonte.
Although management of Ketu distilleries were unavailable for a response to the concerns of the workers at the time JoyNews visited the scene of protest, one Nana Hima, who identified herself as a sales supervisor, told JoyNews the actions by the staff were unwarranted.
Just wake up and they are doing demonstration against the MD. They should bring their paying slips from last year. They should bring their pensions for 2018 or 2019, and then you see how much they were taking and how much they are taking now. How much they were taking 2019 and how much they are taking now. Ungrateful people.
So are you saying that their concerns are not legitimate? They needed not to...
Every company is going through challenges. Every company is going through challenges, not just MD, not just Ketu. Every company, they are going through challenges, not Ketu alone. So
how do you intend to solve their problems?
We are solving a problem by increasing our our sales. The sales is not going. If you sell, we bring money, but we are not selling. If you are not selling, how can we give you somebody that you are taking less than 1,000 Ghana cedi? Now you are taking more than 1,000, and you are being ungrateful.
Meanwhile, the workers were later called back to the yard of the company by management for a meeting. Reporting for JoyNews, Samuel Mbura, Accra.
Mill management of the company has described actions by the aggrieved workers as a sabotage. Nana Kwesi Adubofo, a sales manager of Gehok Distilleries.
Why? The very people doing the agitation, they are from the technical, and part of them are production staff. And do you know why I mentioned the technical? Not too long ago, the board dissolved an IMC, that is the Interim Management Committee. When the Honorable Kofi Juma was on sick leave, the board members instituted a committee to steer the affairs in his absence. And the technical manager, right, was one of the IMC committee. Why did the people not stage demonstration when the IMC was in the seat? Are you getting it? Why do they decide to stage upon the assumption of Honorable Masoko Juma today? So what happened 3 weeks ago? That was different from today.
So how long has the MD been away?
He's been away for 2 months. Only 2 months. You know, his sickness was on and off. So with this, the past 2 months, that he saw that he need sick leave so that he can see to himself. Are you getting it? So he's been away for just 6 weeks or almost 2 months.
So why, or what do you think may be the motive behind the demonstrating or protesting the day that the MD who went on a sick leave resumed work?
I don't know. Believe me, I don't know. But if you tell me if there is any element of sabotage, I would say yes. Because if indeed their grievances are genuine and they want to do it right, why did they wait till the assumption of MD today?
Where is the sabotage coming from?
Believe me, I would say it rightly, and I will say it once again. The sabotage is coming from the IMC, the Interim Management Committee that was instituted by the Board of Directors, that was dissolved last night.
Why do you think so?
Oh, why do I think so?
We're live on JoyNews Today. We're coming to you from our studios in Kokomlemle. We are on the Fan of our streets. We'll take a break. When we'll return, we'll bring you business.
Hello, good afternoon. Warm welcome to the business segment on JoyNews Today with me, Pius Kojo Baka. And power has been cut off to the Ketu market for over 1 week, adversely affecting trading in the major commercial hub in Kumasi. The market facility owes the Electricity Company of Ghana 5.4 million cedis. Vendors of perishable goods at the market are most impacted. Love FM's Mona Lisa Frimpong has more in this report.
The Ketu market has been plunged into darkness since Tuesday, May 9. Management of the market claims traders have not made full payment of bills owed to the Electricity Company of Ghana. But the traders assert they have settled all outstanding debt paid monthly to management of the market facility. Eric Nana Kwesi Prempe is chairman of the Federation of Kumasi Traders.
After the disconnection, leadership of the Traders Union confronted the management as to why we are being disconnected from the national grid. Management tells us the market owes ECG 5.4 million Ghana cedis. So we were at a loss as to why and how we could be, the debt could be so high, because every month in, month out, management have been giving bills to the traders, and the traders as well have been paying the monies to the management. Yet management insists the monies are with the traders. So this morning we even held a meeting with the management that if that be the case, they should paste all the bills according to the flows, so that the traders will be satisfied that indeed the monies are with their colleague traders or the monies are with the management.
Days after the blackout, a generator set at the facility was powered to restore electricity. This was, however, unsustainable as the traders feared the cost of fuel would be passed on to them. Today, the traders are resorting to the use of flashlights to ply their wares. Battery and cold store operators at the market are worst affected as they are recording spoilage.
On the very day, about 2 to 3 days, then I'm pro hapa. I made some muscle and I got no. This is a chair bano, stay light up. This is a man of Nina April. This is a higher pa, but let me be unknown Casano. And then my dear said, Ecoso. You're so touching a share. Be at the hanging a dia, I share nam. And no crowd and can you how to say a name a Tom Nebika. A bika and any in April. Any ruler banks soon a year. What Ghana Commercial Bank or Jessica Kakra? Am I had the interest out of so? What the Abekum and Chia and Aponchia no giant. And now what fire my dear so betom. I dear Chia and Namna say, I was all done for name free.
Others say thieves have taken advantage of the blackout to pickpocket patrons. There is also the influx of counterfeit currencies for trading.
Now, I scan on the battery, I found the fake back. The fake is an arm 20 cedi. And I'm quite a titi to do. Oh, aha, so one was a sumo handy. And yet, scanning your Kurana, 2 Nipana water, and I was say no. Who has scanning you? Miss Never, Liverpool has a Mula has a highest Rama. A from Phony Domu Wajim. What is South Sikapran yet at all?
Trade unions at the market have asked for the fast tracking of the installation of individual meters by the Electricity Company of Ghana.
Because what we also propose is that ECG tells us they are currently have about 6,000 meters in their stock purposely for KJTR market. We think that if they install the meters to each individual shops, definitely before one can go and buy the prepaid credit, they can deduct the arrears the person owes gradually. We think that that is another way for them to redeem their monies from the traders.
For Joy News, Mona Lisa Frimpong reporting.
And the Ghana Revenue Authority has been urged to develop unique techniques to ensure tax compliance by the informal sector to prevent a current recurrence of the economic crisis. Speaking on the sides of the Public Financial Management Seminar, managing partner of Trust Consult, Charles Mensah, also urged the public to play their role as citizens by religiously filing their taxes. And we've got more on that on myjoyonline.com/business. And that's it for business for now. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Darrell Kwa will be here at 1 p.m. with the marketplace. Sports is next.
With Town Nabila Abdullah here with sports on Joy News Today. The Ghana Football Association, 24 players who were sanctioned by the football governing body are waiting for a decision from the Court of Arbitration for Sport following the hearing of the case that was brought before the court by FIFPro, a World Players Welfare body. According to the head of Players Relations for PFAG, Professional Footballers Association of Ghana, the GFA did not have enough evidence of match fixing against the players before sanctioning them, and he's very confident the verdict will be in favor of the players.
I think we had a hearing last month. We did the hearing here. The players came to our boardroom. The FA was also represented by their lawyer, now Odufole. We also had our lawyers from FIFPro who represented us. And so now we are just waiting for the verdict from the arbitrators.
It means that we are close to finalizing the...
Oh, yeah. We are, I mean, since hearing has been done, it's close to finalizing. We're just waiting for what the final decision is going to be.
But based on what you heard, are you positive that the careers of these footballers will continue?
Yeah, we are positive because we think there wasn't enough evidence against the players. But again, we also wouldn't want to speak much since the verdict is not out. Yeah. That is why, even after the hearing, we've not made any comments or we've not spoken about it. So
I think I'm the first person to hear that the hearing has taken place. Mufta is very good with exclusives, you know that.
so let's wait patiently and see how it goes. But the good thing is all the players had they were granted the stay of execution, and that is why they are all being able to ply their trade. They are playing. That is a good thing, because it would have been a very big disaster if the players were still home and couldn't partake in the ongoing season. That would have been a very big disappointment. But it's good that the stay of execution was granted and they are being active now. So let's hope.
That's your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on my joyonline.com and also at 2 p.m. when my colleague Nathaniel Arthur comes your way with sports today.
That's how we wrap up the bulletin this afternoon. My name is Aisha Brian. Log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.